Okay, it is the end of April, beginning of May, and that means it's time. We keep getting the same questions. Is it time to put these beautiful plants outside, or do they have to wait a little bit longer? Let's talk about it. Okay, so it's pretty much a loaded question because it also depends on where you are. So those of us who are watching this from Aquidneck Island, I very rarely ever see frost in the month of May. So the fact that it's the beginning of May, then most plants can tolerate being outside. It's just a matter of that not all plants want to be outside. That is the million-dollar question, because there's a difference between a plant tolerating the land being outdoors in the cold nights and liking it. So like when it comes to our vegetables, lettuces, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, those plants prefer it cold. So yes, they've been outside for about a month. Petunias, million bells, other plants like that, they like it cold. That's why like these plants that I'm looking at right now, these are all proven winter, multi-liners, these are combinations. I am walking through what we call a cold frame. That means we are not putting any heat on these greenhouses, and it's what we're calling hardening off these plants. So yes, these plants in many areas will be perfectly fine going outside. However, the wind has been blowing nonstop, and especially those of you near the water, a cold, stiff wind, even though the plant can tolerate it outside, does not mean it's going to like it. And a cold wind, even though you're not anywhere near freezing, can just tatter the plants. So you gotta kind of gauge it a little bit and try to shelter them. So what am I doing? First week in May, yes, my hummingbird lovers, I'm putting my rockin' fuchsias and all the rockin' series hummingbird plants outside, but I know they're not going to be happy. And if we get a rogue frost, I'm going to protect them. So right now, for the next week or two, I am just focusing on containers. Things that I know can tolerate outside, and our rule of thumb at retail stores, if we're displaying it outside, we feel it can go outside. If we're displaying it inside the greenhouse, it probably still needs to stay in the greenhouse a little bit. But all of our plants are hardened off. We're not putting heat on them anymore, and we're trying to prepare them for the cold nights. We can't go from a 65-degree greenhouse right outside. Even if the plant likes it cold, it needs to transition. So we're taking care of that on our end. But put your plants out, start working on your planters, enjoy these beautiful spring days that we're finally starting to get, and just keep in mind watching the weather, because we can get a touch of frost. It has happened, and that way if it's in containers, you can just pick the plants in if we're going to get a rogue cold night, bring them inside, put them back out. Most plants, now there are certain plants that if I needed to put some in the ground, I'm not worried about them dying. They just may not do a whole lot for a couple weeks until the ground starts getting warm. We had a very cold spring this spring, so it was very difficult for anything to get going. The air is finally nice and warm, but the ground is still cold. So that makes a big difference on how much the plants are gonna like being in the ground. So yes, go ahead. I know it's a loaded question, but for those vegetable growers, if you're looking for like tomatoes, peppers, or cucumbers, any of those viney summer loving plants, definitely hold off. When it comes to things like tomatoes, things that like it really warm, I personally think we're about a month away from being able to plant those outside and have the plants be happy. With short season crops, like I consider a tomato a short season crop, because depending on when you're planting it, if we're cold in the spring, it's gonna be August before you're getting fruit many times. So I find that those plants are better off waiting, let the ground warm up, put them outside, and let them just keep thriving. Put those out too early, they're gonna get stunted, and then you could actually take even longer to get going. So it's almost here. Test the waters. By May 15th, pretty much everything goes out unless we're having really stiff cold winds, and then I will hold out. But by the 15th, you should be good to plant most things. Hope that helps. Take care.